All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, when Joe Girardi was named as a manager of the Philadelphia Phillies prior to the 2020 Major League Baseball season, there was plenty of optimism on Broad Street that the former manager of the New York Yankees would bring some of that winning pedigree down the New Jersey Turnpike with him. But in 2+ years at the helm in Philadelphia, Girardi's record with the Phillies is just 131 and 140, and his expectations are very high for this year's club. The fans in Philly are not too pleased with their team's skipper. The Phillies are currently sporting a record of 21 and 28 as they are in third place in the National League East as they are 11 games behind the first place New York Mets. Now, Philadelphia has dropped 11 out of their last 15 games, and including in that was getting swept this past weekend at the hands of the injury plagued New York Mets. Now, pick your poison with this Phillies team as they have a bullpen that has never met a game that they couldn't blow. Defensively, Philadelphia is 11th in the National League this season, while they've also committed 30 errors so far. The Phillies have the highest payroll in franchise history. And at this point, what they are, you can't even call them a mediocre baseball team. They are a very underachieving baseball club. And it's unfortunate because there's too much talent on this team right now for the Phillies to be where they're at. I mean, you think about it. Bryce Harper, I know he was injured for a little bit, but I mean, he's part of like obviously the core of this team right now. He has multiple MVPs to his credit. You think about Nick Castellanos, who was acquired in free agency, and he's starting to hit right now. We saw him get that big home run last night in a losing effort against the Mets, and then he came back and got a solo shot today in the loss to the San Francisco Giants. But nonetheless, he's getting it going. But you think about the likes of Gene Segura, JT Realmuto, and then as far as the rotation goes, Aaron Nolan, Zach Wheeler. There's too much talent here right now for the Philadelphia Phillies to be where they're at. And for Joe Girardi, he's in the final year of his contract. I know there's an option for next season, but the way things are going, you can forget about that option being picked up. And honestly, the way things are going, I'm not sure if Girardi is going to finish the year as Phillies manager. I mean, you have a lot of their fan base that is fed up with him and frustrated, and rightfully so, because you expected a turnaround. And I mean, you saw the Phillies go 28 and 32 in the shortened 2020 MLB season, which was not good enough for them to make the playoffs, even though it was an extended postseason. They languished around 500 last year, and now they're under 500 right now. So it's going to be tough for Girardi to remain as Phillies manager if this keeps up, especially when you have players on this team questioning the team's energy level. That's not a good thing. I look at it like this: the Phillies, they're going to have to try to find a way to figure this out because this was the time where you'd want to try to take advantage of the Mets with all of their injuries, especially no DeGrom, no Max Scherzer, no James McCann in that lineup. And yet the Mets are still playing solid and they look like they're going to be in it till the end in the National League East. Now, the Atlanta Braves, who are the defending World Series champions, they're 23 and 25 at the moment. But you know, at some point, Atlanta is going to get it going. The Miami Marlins are 19 and 27, but you cannot overlook them. And you know, the Nationals, they're out of it. But you know what? The Nationals could play spoiler for some teams, especially the Phillies in this division. And right now, Philadelphia is only 3 games in front of Washington in the standings. So that's very telling of where we're at with this club right now. So the big question is, will the Phillies get it turned around? And it's going to be very difficult. They dropped their series opener this afternoon at home against San Francisco. They have two more against the Giants before they host the Los Angeles Angels this coming weekend. And the Angels are a very good club so far this season. After that, we're going to see Philly in Milwaukee against the Brewers. And the Brewers are looking like a team that has what it takes to win the National League pennant. there's going to be a soft spot in Philadelphia's schedule that they really must take advantage of. You're talking about the middle of June. Philadelphia hosts the Diamondbacks for 3 games. They host the Marlins for 3 games. They have 5 games on the road in DC against the Washington Nationals before they have 2 in Texas with the Rangers. And then after that, they're at San Diego, they're home for Atlanta, and they're home for St. Louis to finish the month. So after this series with the Giants, pardon me, this week coming up with both the Giants and the Angels, this is an opportunity for the Phillies. They've got to get fat in the win column in order to get some momentum for themselves, to try to salvage the first half of the season as they look towards the second half of the year. But you can make the case that the Phillies have been the biggest disappointment so far this year in Major League Baseball. And if this trend does indeed continue, it's going to be very hard for Phillies management to sell anybody in that city or anybody that follows this team, period, to say that, you know what, Joe Girardi has done enough to remain as our manager. Not the start that the Phillies needed. They're almost 50 games through with this season, so you got about 1/3 under your belt. But if you're Philadelphia, it's time where, you know what, you cannot afford to fall any further behind the 8 ball. It's put up or shut up time for this team. So I think for the month of June, we are really going to see what the Phillies are made of. And if they're not, I think the first person to be shown the door is going to be Joe Girardi. You can't fire the players. You have to fire the manager, especially a manager who is drawing the ire of frustration from the fans and also, questionable things about this team being motivated. So let's see what the Phillies can do going forward as they look to put this poor start behind them. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line to be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.